Thank you to TuffX for sponsoring this week's video and supplying us with the skylight we're about to fit. More about them as we go through this episode. Our roof light from TuffX has arrived. It's a flat glass. It's 2 metres by 1 metres, and it's going to go up there. We've got ourselves set up. We've got ourselves a genie. We're going to put it on the insulation vertically on here, and then lift up into the space, clamp it onto this, put that on there, lift it up into the space, and then lift it up onto the roof. At that point, we'll then get the 25mm that we've got there on the roof upstairs. We'll stick it flat. But what we want to do now, we'll go up on top now, take all this off. It's been on for long enough now, been on for a good few weeks. And then we'll make sure that our rebates that's required, because if you see there, look, that rebate there is 25 bill deep, which is what we had to allow on the drawing that I got sent from TuffX a few weeks ago when I was making my upstand. And this is the one on the screen there that they sent me via email, which in terms of when you're trying to get something done, to have that sort of information at hand is key to getting your roof light correct. What you don't want to do is start getting bespoke ones made because it's more expensive. Off the shelf ones, like this 2 metre by 1 metre, is a lot cheaper to buy than it is to get a bespoke. So you need to get this hole correct right at the very start when you're doing your roof structure. So let's go up now, have a look, make sure our rebates are correct. We can trim our plasterboard back now, and then we know where we are, put our beads on, and we can get everything set ready to take that. This has been on for long enough now. We've been very lucky that this has kept us lovely and watertight, other than condensation, which you can't have condensation, but it's really nice to get this flat glass roof light fitted. What we want to do, Corby, just if you work your way around now, see this, see that now. What I want to do is I need that to go to that rebate, so just take this off to the rebate so the rebate's clear. It's quite flat, that, isn't it, Matt? Yeah. Nice job of that, isn't it? Doing it all nice and flat, look. Yeah, almost like I did it before. Yeah. It's right. It's only a little, you know what, I might even go and get my rasp on it. Bit of a raspette. Maybe. Just flush with the, you're going to do it flush with the timber, and then put the bead on top to give you your 2mm back up again. Yeah. Let's do that.
I'm going to get my rasp, I'm going to get my snips, pass the beads up.
Okie dokie. Okay. Well, what's, pardon? Oh look, it'll look nice. The junction between the glass and the beads will look lovely because it's, you know, you get that horrible joint. That'll lovely. It won't expand either, will it? It'll contract as much. So all Corby's doing now is just trimming the felt off to the pre-formed upstand. You can see on the screen now that the upstand's already formed when I did the original structure, again as per the drawing. So we just need to make sure this is nice and flat. What I'm really pleased about, because it's the first time I've seen it, is if you can look here, where the overlap of the felt is, it looks like he's made an effort to make sure that's nice and flat. And there's no big sort of bump, which is what I was worried about. So when I put my mastic on, I ended up with sort of this sort of affair. He's clearly thought about it, which is sort of thing that I like. People thinking about the next person that's going to be working on whatever they're doing. That's the way we work, and that's the way everyone should work, in my opinion. But you just don't get that, unfortunately. People do their job and just go, I've done my job, don't care anybody else. But this is when it matters, when you're doing things like this. So that's great. So Corby will finish that. Matt, if he didn't quite catch it then, Matt is going to go and fetch his beads. We're going to rasp the plasterboard flush. So make sure that this is flush here, which it pretty much is anyway, because he already did it. And then once that's done, we'll make sure it's all nice and clean. I've got some low modulus glazing silicone as per the manufacturer's recommendations. And we'll make sure we put a bead on the rebate, so in this point here and on top of there as well, all the way around, so two sort of lines of defence, if you like. But you'll see once the glass comes up, it overhangs by, I don't know how much it's meant to overhang, 100mm or so, but we'll look at all that in a moment once we start fitting. So we'll let Corby finish that, and then we'll get our plasterboard beads on, get them set, and we'll look at getting the glass up here, I think.
Saw you paint a picture of face, a face that wasn't even close to mine. I know I shouldn't be in love, but it's so hard to move on. You haven't changed, you stayed the same. But if you did, I'd still love you anyway. I'd give you the world like I promised I would, even though you wouldn't do the same.
All I'm doing now is I'm just going to get my combination square, and I know that the rebate on the glass from the double glazed to the underside of the flat glass, which is the piece that goes on top, is 25mm. So I know I made my rebate 23mm, knowing there'd be a thickness of felt, but however, I just need to make sure that I'm not going to be too deep then, because once the mastic goes on here and the mastic goes on here, I need to make sure that I'm not going to be sitting too much on here or too much on there, if that makes sense. Matt's just finishing off now, securing his beads 100%, and what that does now is that then gives us a really nice junction between the when it's skimmed and the actual glass that sits on top of there now. So we're really happy with that. And as I mentioned, look, you can see that he's actually bothered to check it. Look, you can see that the junction between the two thicknesses of felt, when it's warm, he's obviously hit it with a hammer and made it nice and flat there for us. You're never going to 100% get it. Like you can see there, look, it's a little bit raised there, but you're never ever going to stop that, because he's got to joint his felt. He's got to, especially on the corners. But like I say, he's made an effort to try and make sure that they're not as they're as thin as they can be, which I'm really pleased about. So as you can see now, our rebate is there. We've got about a 28mm rebate now. Now the glass is 25, so we'll put a good generous bead of mastic all the way around there now, around the edge, and then on here as well. A lesser bead on this one, only because we don't want to lift it up too much, but ultimately we've got a seal here and a seal there as well, and it can't, because the glass comes over the top of here, it can't get into there, because it can't capillarate in and back under there, because it just won't, because of the way the slope of the roof is as well. So there we are then. We will get ourselves set now. I've got my mastic gun over there. I've got all the low modulus mastic. I'm using a Dow coring one, and that's just, it's a little bit more expensive, but when you're doing this kind of thing, my opinion is you need the best materials that you can, really, because that's the only line of defence from external to internal is a good quality mastic. Oh, move my fingers. The only last line of defence is a piece of mastic, so you need to make sure it's a good quality one. And there it was. Jeannie has helped us out a lot there. You would have spotted on the time lapse that all we did was we just went up nice and steady. Matt stopped it at the bottom just to stop it kicking out potentially, but as soon as I got hold of it and had it in its vertical state, it can't be any safer. Got up to the point where, I mean, this just went into this opening beautiful. So if you're doing this yourself and you've got a 2 metre by 1 metre glass light, there isn't any safer way to do it, in my opinion, as long as of course you can get that into your house. So we've obviously got our 25mm here now. Let's set it on top of there. I'm going to put mastic round. Now we're all happy that this is all clean and tidy. We're now going to put the mastic all around the rebate, put the mastic all the way around the felt, and unpack this, take all the packaging off, and there we are. Okay, let's talk about a couple of key points. Firstly, it's purchasing. Now, you're best to do this right at the start. TuffX have got a very good customer service and will happily take your call and talk through any job you've got going at the moment, which is exactly what I did, which you've already seen, that I've got the photo and the picture that they sent me to allow me to do my upstand. When looking at purchasing, there are two options. You've got frameless, which is what this is, or framed, and both of them have got completely different upstand dimensions. So it's important to do your purchasing of this, or at least know where you're going to get it from at the earliest possible stage. This TuffX though doesn't include wasps. This one is specific to this area, and TuffX have got nothing at all, no responsibility for any wasp that is upset or damaged in the filming of this episode. Right then, so just trying to point out a couple of things. This dimension now is 1040. This is the inside double glazed part now, by 2040, right? So this is where the upstand comes in. All the ones we've done before is this flat glass part has been the only part that's sat on top of the upstand. Whereas what I find, this is a much better design because the double glazed part fits onto this rebate here. And what I've done is, we've got our dimensions there now, and I've done it 10mm bigger all the way around, which then gives you movement a little bit to make sure it's not, because if you're a little bit out of square, which is possible, even though you can make it square, you've got to make sure that it can drop in. So I've done this 10mm bigger, so in other words 1050 by 2050. And then what happens then is the double glazed pot sits on top of this. Now when we've done them before from other manufacturers, which is why I like the way they've done it, is that the double glazed pot sits on there. You haven't got to put any additional support in, because it's got to be supported. It can't just sit on the single pane of glass. We have done two options before, haven't we, Matt? We've done angle iron, like a aluminium angle before, screwed onto the frame and then holds that. And we've also done the plywood, haven't we, where we've used like a double ply almost to push up to it to support it. We've done both ways. This is a lot better. I've got no messing, and we've been able to plasterboard and get it ready for plastering before we even install the window. Again, when you're doing your purchasing, you need to look at whether you want double glazed or triple glazed. These are things you've got to think about early on. You need to know the size of your rebate so the roof can come in and finish it. If you've gone triple glazed and you've done it to a double glazed, the rebate won't be deep enough because it's deeper glass. Or at least I think it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So that's just things you need to think about. So what we're going to do now, we're going to run our silicone all the way around and then drop this glass in place, and we'll talk about another couple of considerations that you need to look at when thinking about and getting together ideas for your roof light. Okay, another consideration when looking at roof windows, and again, TuffX are good to talk to because they will help you. However, on your architect's plans, it may specify a certain U value, which may then mean or dictate whether it's got to be double glazed or triple glazed. It didn't on our occasion, so we went for double glazed. So that's something you need to consider, because the main reason is, from my point of view as a carpenter, you can't change to triple glazed once you've had double glazed, because the unit, the triple glazed unit, can vary from 32 to 45, 44 mil, if I remember rightly. If I'm incorrect, I'll stick it on the screen now. But this one is 25 mil. So as you can imagine, if you've done all your roof covering and you've done your rebate and it's wrong, the flat glass bit will stick up above your roof if you've then changed to triple glazed. So you've got to factor all these things in right at the very start when you're looking at putting your joists on. That's what you've got to think about it. Another consideration is, if you are south facing, you need to consider that there is an option available from TuffX that you can have solar glass, and this will help reflect some of the heat away from your roof light. Because if you can imagine, if you're directly south facing, the amount of heat that it's going to absorb is going to make your extension, or whatever you're doing at the time, whether it be a kitchen or whatever it is, it will help reflect the heat and the UV away from your roof light. That's something else to consider. It's obviously going to be more expensive, but it's definitely worth factoring in when you're trying to make the best of your space, and that's to keep it cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And the final point to consider is something that we've sort of touched on already, and that is, when you're looking at your roof light size, have a look on TuffX's website first and ascertain what size is best for you and what size best fits your extension. Because what the architect will do, he'll just draw one on there and think, well, that looks nice. He may or may not, depending how good he or she are, they may not factor in the fact that if you get a 2 metre by 1 metre, it's a lot cheaper than getting a 1.8 by a 0.7. So you need to think about that. Have a look at your roof light, ask the question of the architect, whoever's doing your drawings, is it a standard size? And then go onto their website and have a look. And like I've already mentioned several times already, give them a call and speak to them, they will tell you. But it's definitely something worth thinking about if you are on a budget. Go for an off-the-shelf roof light size. Well, there we have it. TuffX do boast that you can fit one of their windows, and they come wrapped in a certain way and are able to be fitted in 10 to 15 minutes. Now, I've got to say, I don't think it was even 10 minutes. I think the longest part was taking the wrapping off, because once we got the mastic on, obviously you've got to have plenty of people here to help you. You can't do it on your own, obviously. It just literally drops straight in. That's it. You haven't got anything else. The sheer weight of it on the mastic holds it in place. It can't go anywhere, and we are really happy about that. Obviously, at the minute you can see the beads and what have you, but once it's skimmed, that'll all blend in. You won't see it. And the angle I'm looking at here, you can see a little bit of the silicone there, but again, because the angle I'm looking at it this way, not on top of it. Obviously, once you're down this way, you're not going to see it, are you? So there we are. We are very, very pleased with that. Our roof light is installed, and we are very happy with it. The customer is very happy also. If you want to deal with one of the UK's leading glass manufacturers and processors, go into the description and click on that link and go over to their website and take a look at what they do. They do other things such as balustrades, for example. So have a look at their website if you've got any glass involved in your next project. And that went as easy as it possibly could be. I think the addition of the Genie lift definitely helped and made it a lot safer. Now that's in, Matt can now start prepping again for his plastering to finish it off. The only thing he can't do is this wall here, just this bit here, because I've got to put a new frame in there. I'm not going to do that until next week, because I ain't got enough time to give to Matt at the minute. I just ain't got none. You know, and he knows that's not the truth, just the fact that we've just planned it. We've planned that, haven't we, Matt? We've planned it.
We have planned it, actually.
We've planned it.
Yes, yeah.
What he wants to get that board on. He has just put that board on behind this one. He's put the insulation in there. You've already seen part of that done already. Put the 50mm Kingspan over the top, or Recticel, which is what we're using. Foamed it in. That board now, once he's done mixing, will be dabbed onto there and then mechanically fixed into that timber and the timber behind there as well. And other than beads and scrim, back to plaster again, haven't we?
Catapulting it on, mate. Yeah.
Catapulting it on. Excellent. Have you enjoyed today, Corby?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, it's kitchen fitting day today at this job, But there's something very important we've got to do first. So let's get on with that. Prep work is being done for this, and that is spraying. We've covered everything in here. The window's not covered because that's all coming out anyway. Covered up the manifold, covered up all the bits and bobs and diverters and everything else and for heating. And those of you who thought he'd never be here, here he is, look, he's here.
He's got me.
I've trapped him down. I've trapped him. Told him to, he's had his inoculations and he's come over. Anyway, he's had them. He's had his injections anyway. To get him over this side of the woods and get it all sprayed for me. So we're going to be spraying all of this. We're just going to drop that down. We've used this pre-taped stuff. This stuff. It's like a sticky bit on the top, and that's 2.4 metres. So you unravel that sticky tape and you stick it onto there like that, look. I'm going to put masking tape over that yet as well, because I've put gaffer tape over the top. And then we'll drop this down and tape it to the sides when we're ready, but at the moment we're still using this door. So this room will be the last one we do. We're in the upstairs room first, which we're not going to show you because that was never really part of this job, so it doesn't make sense to show you that one. But all of this here and all this room will be painted. So I think we'll just get on with it.